Good morning, everyone. My name is Bharat Kumar, and I'm going to give you a presentation about nuclear weapons and why do we fear them. So, basically, what is nuclear weapons? Nuclear weapons are, they are explosives created by powerful countries to, fear, make other countries fear them or use them as an asset. Okay, and these are our contents today. We're going to talk about. First, let's go with what is a nuclear weapon. Okay, so nuclear weapons. So should we really, accept the, the fact that they are being still manufactured today, or we should, stop and, prohibit their usage? Let's get into it. So what is a nuclear weapon? A nuclear weapon is a, explosive or explosive device that is, that contains an destructive force from nuclear radiations. So it is basically, the nuclear radiation and the explosion is created from atomic fusion or fission. So atomic fission is when two or not two like a single a big atom is split apart into two other smaller atoms. Okay, so when this atom is split apart into atoms, it creates it creates an enormous energy. Okay, heat energy and explosive force, thus creating an explosive device due to that. And in nuclear fission, two atoms of similar mass are combined to create a single atom, by which there is also an explosion, heat, and radiation is created. So this is the concept of how a nuclear bomb operates. Fission weapons. So in these type of weapons, fission, so it does it does mean that two atoms, not two atoms, a single atom, is split up into two. So that's how it works in these weapons. Atoms or the uranium atoms split apart into two atoms, making other atoms split apart too. Like when they are traveling in a path, they come across other atoms, so they when they touch each other, they split up, making a chain reaction due to that, thus creating a huge explosion. These fusion weapons are examples of these are Fat Boy and Big Bang. uh, these two atom bombs, you might not know, but these two are the atom bombs that are used for Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Next comes fusion weapons. In fusion weapons, it is basically a hydrogen bomb design. So it does not contain any atom fission rather than fusion. Okay. So in these type of weapons, fusion of deuterium and tritium are main purpose. Okay. Two heavy isotopes of hydrogen are used for the fusion process. These weapons, fusion, do not require any fissile material, or they were, therefore they will be much easier to build in secret than existing weapons. The the necessity of separating high quality fissile materials requires an industrial investment. You need a lot of money and assets to create these type of weapons. So these nuclear weapons are not easily made. They are really expensive and time consuming, and they are very dangerous while manufacturing too. There can be a lot of hazards like accidents and a lot more. So they must be carried out very in a uh, confidential manner and very safe and secure way. So let's get into the history of weapons. So the first nuclear weapon was created by Albert Einstein in the Manhattan Project, which was in United States. So this nuclear weapons are basically the first two prototypes of the nuclear weapons, Fat Boy and Big Man, which are used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So the concept of creating these weapons are for so that the Germans would uh, fear Americans when they get to know that they exist and nuclear weapons with the Americans. So there will be they are created as an asset for peace, not war. But these weapons were actually used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It was certainly regrettable that these weapons are created for peace, but they were used completely opposite to peace. So these nuclear weapons are basically symbols of military and national power. These weapons, when when you have a nuclear weapon, you are considered a dangerous and a very powerful person, thus creating an powerful environment and atmosphere, making you to hard to approach and respectable. For example, let's say that if India does not have any nuclear weapon right now, it wouldn't be such a powerful country. These nuclear weapons create a powerful environment for each and every country. So, why do people want to develop nuclear weapons? As I said, they're made for national defense, and they, of course, they're powerful and they are used for intimidating other countries and making ourselves look more powerful. It is a statement of development and power. When countries have nuclear weapons, they're considered to be developed countries and much powerful countries rather than others which they do not have nuclear bombs. The effects of nuclear explosion. So when there's a nuclear explosion, basically, for a certain distance, like let's assume that for 5 kilometers, the blast radius, okay, it will incinerate everything in its path. Okay, not even buildings, roads, they will asphalt. No, then nothing will be there. Everything will be, 1 second they will be there, and another second, poof, they will be gone. So it is very much dangerous, and beyond dangerous, it does not, if you are inside that blast radius, you will not feel any pain. 1 second you'll be looking at the nuclear bomb, and the other second you'll be poof, non-existent. And after this blast radius comes the hazardous radius, or they might also known as the radiation zone. During this radiation zone, if you are present, you might get third-degree burns. By which I mean, third-degree burns are, the highest form of burns a human being can actually withstand without being actually dead. So when you stand in this radiation zone, the heat from the nuclear explosion might quickly fry you to a third-degree burn, or you might gradually die of nuclear poisoning or radiation poisoning. And next comes the aftermath of what happens when you encounter a nuclear bomb. So let's assume that you're not in the blast radius and you're not present even at the radiation zone. You are pretty much far away from the nuclear bomb. So you will feel a huge blast of air slapped across your face, because when a nuclear bomb bursts, it pushes all the air uh, around it, creating a big pressure in the atmosphere. And the blast, or the initial blast, contains about 40 to 60% of the total energy emitted from the nuclear explosion, and the thermal radiation contains 30 to 50 of total energy. And the ionizing radiation, which I said you will feel if you are in radiation zone, contains about 5% of the total energy. And residual radiation, if after the nuclear bomb has actually exploded, and uh, people who are not in the radiation and the blast zone come again to the radiation zone, or let's assume that people come towards the place where the bomb had exploded, there will be still some residual radiation. It is also fatal, when radiation, it does not affect you on basis of how much it affects, how much it contains on you, if there is an there's a radiation present at a certain place, and if you go there, it will start affecting you and your DNA, one by one. It's a slow process. It's not fast enough. Like if you were in radiation zone, it will be very fast. You could actually see your hand getting melted during the blast. But after the blast, during the fallout, people actually die from radiation poisoning, such as let's say people were born with a lot of disabilities, defects, and extra fingers, extra eyes. It's an abomination when you see the fallout again. And next, let's talk about the atomic bomb effect. Atomic bomb releases four kinds of energy, uh, namely radiation, electromagnetic, heat, and pressure. So this radiation comes from the atomic fission and fusion. When atoms, when they combine, or when they uh, you know they go apart from each other, a massive amount of radiation is created. And electromagnetic, of course, when when there's a blast, there is an electromagnetic effect created, and during the process, heat will be emitted from the blast, and due to the blast, the air surrounding it will create a pressure. So these are the four types of things that will happen during an atomic bomb explosion. And why is it important to have nuclear bombs? Nuclear weapons are, like tools of mass destruction. They are also an possible danger to a world, and you have to understand the consequences of using them. The element uranium, which is used in nuclear weapons, they are very dangerous in nature itself. So when you're, when they are mined, like when uranium is mined, it is often as an mined as an ore, which is not basically harmful. But when the ore is being cleansed and it is made into real uranium, it is, like pretty much impossible to touch it with your bare hands. It will, quickly, you will quickly get radiation and you will die of it. So that is the reason why, uranium is used in nuclear bombs, because they create a lot of heat, radiation, and power. Like when its atoms are fused or fission is created. Thank you. So I hope that you have learned a lot about radiation and nuclear weapons today. So we must bear in mind that nuclear weapons are like dangerous weapons, but still they hold a certain value in our life, and by life I mean our country. So I guess this is it. Thank you.